Hi, my dear Astro family. Here is the aspect of the week, and we are going to be looking at Mars-Neptune square. So stay till the very end because I'm going to be teaching a couple of nice techniques for you, and I'm also going to be talking to you about this particular aspect. So this is an opening square. So the first challenge is that we might run into around topics when the conjunction happened. So this is a kind of like a big mistake when people are looking at certain type of aspects. So you're looking at, for example, the Neptune Mars square, and then you think that, oh, it triggers two houses. But actually, what you need to be doing is that try to analyze the aspect without, you never try to analyze an aspect without looking at what got initiated at the beginning of the cycle. So therefore, you need to be looking at what happened with Mars-Neptune conjunction, for example, which took place on April 29th, 2024, and that happened on 28 degree of Pisces. That is something where you planted the seeds around Mars and Neptunian topics. And when the conjunction actually happened, the day before, we had a full moon in Scorpio. So it will also activate the Scorpionic part of your chart as well. So the square is happening on this time around 29 degree of Gemini to 29 degree of Pisces. But it's kind of activating the Scorpionic cusp of your chart as well. So do you have any natal planets, solar arc planets, or progress planets within 1 degree of that particular degree? So if it happens on 29 degree of Pisces, do we have any planets most likely from 27 to 29 degree of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius? But anyway, before we get into it, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and even share your comments. And tell us what happened, for example, during the conjunction for you, because that will be helping you to understand what might be coming up with this particular square. So now some of you will have natal Neptune on those degrees. For example, those people who were born in 1982, 1983. But I think you should be focusing a little bit more on the personal planets because those tend to be a lot more impactful. For example, I have the progress sun on 28 degree of Pisces. So it will be affecting the progress sun and wherever the sun is in the natal chart and what the sun rules in your natal chart. So natally, I've got the sun in the 12th house and the sun rules the 6th house. So those are the impacted areas, 6, 12, with this Neptune and Mars square. And of course, you would be looking at, okay, what Mars transits in the chart. And in that case, for example, it transits my 4th house. And where is Neptune? And that's in the 1st house. So if I want to put it together, we have got the 12th, the 1st, the 4th, and that's it. The 12th, the 1st, and the 4th house activation, sorry, and the 6th house, because the sun rules the 6th. And you would need to be able to put a story together. Now, this was the technical part. So now Mars and Neptune are making the square. As I said, it's on 29 degree of Pisces to 29 degree of Gemini. And it happens on an energetic degree. And the energetic degree is a degree of urgency. Sometimes you just want to move away from something. We want to put something into bed. We want to basically close down a situation in our life. Why do we want to do that? Because we want a fresh start. But unfortunately, it's kind of like we cannot run away from something that needs a solution. So, for example, because it happens in the sign of Gemini, you just want to be escaping from a conversation that you kind of have to have. And maybe that conversation relates somehow to intimacy. Because remember, as I said, it reactivates the Scorpio full moon that happened on April 28th, or about power struggles, about finances, potentially with a partner of yours, but I'm going to speak about that as well. Why? And that's going to be because of Venus and South Node conjunction. So, for example, I remember April 29th, I was actually traveling from Thailand back to Turkey to pick up my doggies. And then the day after, I went to Albania for a few months. Now, I was in Thailand to do a fitness retreat, and I was just finishing up on the 28th, and then I traveled on the 29th of April. And the sun rules my sixth house, and that is connected to health, fitness, the choices what we make, lifestyle choices, and so on. So now with this square, it's going to get tested whether I am doing the right thing now or not. So, this is going to be probably the topic for me for the next 1 week or so. But as usual, I will be breaking this down for my YouTube special members. If you want to receive more astrology, then consider signing up. And also, I'm running a super cool course starting on the 2nd of October, and that's going to be teaching you in that 6-week course all about family patterns, family incarnations, the reason of your existence in a way, and also family healing as well. So I think this is going to be a super popular course because we are in that era when we have to be healing quite a lot, and we're going to start understanding that the integration of the body and the mind are super important. Now, let's talk about this Mars and Neptune archetype. So, for example, look at the symbol of Mars. It is a circle with an arrow pointing outwards. So what that suggests that we project something onto others because the arrow is going out, the arrow goes outwards. So for example, we project everything onto others. We project, for example, our anger onto others. We project our own energy, the mood, and so forth. We influence others somehow with our being. This is one of the reasons why Mars is the planet of promoting, for example. It has got the centrifugal energy with it. So Mars gets us going like the animals in the wild. They are lurking to grab their food. Sometimes it needs to be a tactical move, right? Because I know this animal is bigger and so forth. So I need to be smart about it. But with Neptune, kind of like the tactical part gets washed away. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to be very strategic. I'm really watching what is happening. And then I managed to stumble upon, I'm sneezing. And then all of a sudden that bird is going to be flying off because it gets scared, right? So I'm unable to shoot down that bird. That is kind of like the analogy, what comes to my mind with this Neptune and Mars combination. Or I talked about how we project our anger onto others as well, or what we're projecting onto others. And with Neptune, we are not being aware of this. And this square is actually an invitation to temper our anger down a little bit, to be more aware in a way that our existence affects other people around us as well. Now, of course, Mars is getting paired up with Neptune, which is the planet of shadiness. So Mars in the sign of Gemini, we have a motive to convince someone about our own truth. We want to sell something to them. But maybe with that Neptune, we might not be consistent with our own speech. We might get confused about what we said previously, what we are saying now. Maybe we are not using the right grammatical tools, or we use a different word, and so on. And maybe someone's going to point that out. Also, the glimpse of Mars resembles like an erected penis. Now put ice on it. Even though Neptune is not necessarily the ice, but it's pretty much the cold water. You know what's going to happen there. So that Mars is not as direct anymore. It's not as straightforward like it usually does. So this could indicate in the sign of Gemini that we are bending the truth. We come up with excuses. For example, I'm too tired. I cannot do it. I'm not good at it. I don't have the strength, and so forth. So there is an element of a tendency to give up. For example, we want to give up defending our own truth. We want to give up speaking because it feels like no one listens to me. What's the point in talking? No one acts on anything. So it's kind of like being a parrot. And then I just keep repeating myself all over again and I get tired of it. Mars is the animal instinct within us. So what does an animal do? They go out to hunt. It goes out to kill something. But like I gave you the previous analogy, we are not as tactical this time around. And then we stumble upon some issues with that Neptune there. And then we scare the prey away. Or we might feel we do not have the strength. So therefore, we do not have the strength to change, to transform. As Mars being in the sign of Gemini, we might not have the strength to talk, to speak, to study, to even fight back, to stand up for your own truth. And sometimes what we might think with this aspect is that shadiness is actually an easier tool to get what we want because it's less effort. So that could be happening with this aspect as well. But Mars is also the soldier who is willing to die for their own country. But with Neptune, we might not see clearly the motives, what we are fighting for. We are unsure whether to believe or not what they are telling us. We might have got the doubts, like they are sending us into a trap, for example. We become a lot more suspicious with this. Why are they telling us these type of things? What do they want to do with it? What is the shadiness around it? So imagine a scenario of someone getting caught lying and trying to rectify their mistake. But the question remains, shall I believe them or shall I not? Someone who stumbles upon their own words, someone who doesn't make sense, someone who speaks about one topic and ends up talking about something else. And people might start questioning the sanity of that person. So for example, I'm attending a political debate. The reason why I'm mentioning political debate, by the way, because Pluto is actually making a sextile to Mars on the very same day. So we've got this political debate going on. And then I said I was going to talk about economy. And I end up talking about, I don't know, healthcare, for example, Neptune in the sign of Pisces. And we are confused because we showed up listening to a political debate about economy and not healthcare. So, but also my Mars fights for a reason. For example, in Gemini, we fight for the right to speak, to express ourselves. And with Neptune, we might not be able to choose the right words. We mix up sentences. We use the wrong words. We sign something that we should not, as we have overlooked the details. So this is not a great day, for example, to sign contractual agreements, especially if someone is trying to push you to sign something without any type of consideration, for example. Mars is the planet of efforts, and while it is making a square to Neptune, it does receive a sextile from Pluto that tries to empower us. That is telling us that words have strength. And it might feel like you are speaking to walls you're speaking to four walls, you're speaking for no reason, no one listens, but you mark them somehow deep down. You are kind of like planting a seed with something that you have got to share. So Pluto is telling you not to give up on keep talking. Just go ahead and talk and talk. Don't give up speaking. Mars is also, in a negative way, domineering, aggressive. And Neptune is trying to take that down a notch as we project our anger onto others, as I mentioned at the beginning. Like we punch the wall. You might be causing damage. Obviously, your hands might be bleeding. Again, because you were not cautious enough. And in the sign of Gemini, it's very easy to snap at others. This aspect comes with frustration, being frustrated about the partner, as well as, a business partner or a romantic partner, for example. And then it can lead to arguments. And because Mars can become quite cruel, oppressive. So this is all about that hurt, the how we can hurt others with words. Later on, we regret them, or we even completely forget about how we hurt others. But Neptune remembers. Water never forgets, only forgives. So if you had certain type of, arguments with someone in April, towards the end of April, beginning of May, it's very possible that, this comes back as a topic. It gets brought up to someone. This gets stirred up, something that happened in the past, and then now it will become a topic of conversation. And we are confused why this conversation comes up at the first place. It happened ages ago, but obviously somehow it got triggered. Mars tends to point at others. In Gemini, it even can blame someone. So, and with Neptune, it's very easy to blame the wrong person. But also, with a higher manifestation of this is telling you to ask, what is the point of blaming others? What is the point of distorting the truth? Because with Neptune, we want to save someone. Sometimes it can feel like that I have to lie in order for a situation to be saved. What's the point of that? Now, the counterpart of Mars is Venus. And Venus is the exalted ruler of Pisces. That is in the sign of Libra, conjoined with the South Node. So there is a need here to have a smooth conversation with a partner. It could be like a debate show and someone is going to slip up, gets confused of what they said a few months ago and what they are saying now, and someone is going to point that out. It could really talk to you about having to have a healing conversation with a business partner, with your romantic ones, maybe it's a court hearing, for example, that you need to be attending and so forth around these days. And you need to be extremely careful what you are going to be saying because someone is going to try to actually kind of find fault in what you have got to say to others. But with Neptune, we're yearning for something. So we might be yearning for a stimulating conversation with a special person. But when we actually get there, we do not know what to say. We might be just sitting there like a puppet. Imagine a situation that you are going on a romantic date. You have prepared a bunch of great pickup lines and stories, and you have got your notebook. And then all of a sudden, you leave your notebook at home, and then your brain freezes. Oh, wow, what am I going to talk to this girl about? And so forth. So, and then it can feel like I have to have a drink or two to be able to have those conversations with someone. So often we overdo something with this aspect as well, which could lead to accidents, for example, which could lead to talking too much, letting the cat out of the bag, or just freezing down when talking to someone. Now, Neptune is in the sign of Pisces, highly romantic. It wants a bunch of flower. And Venus is in the sign of Libra, a little bit similar. But Mars might forget the anniversary date or forget, something at home. forget a very important birthday or a meeting. So therefore we are delayed. So for example, my partner had a how's it called? A doctor's appointment today and completely forgot about it. You know, we are already very close by to this square because we are within 3 degrees already. And this was a very important doctor's appointment, actually. So let's see what's going to happen now. So the advice with this is that check your notes, check your diary. Make sure that if you have got something important, you have to take a note of that. Or you can get into a fight for a precious one because you want to show your love through kind of like a verbal fight. Neptune is a little bit of a showy planet. Even though, you know, showing off is very a Leo-like energy, but just think about Neptune as the sign of idealism. So if I want to show the ideal side of myself, right, then I am quite a showy person because I can become pretentious. So what could happen here is that there is this romantic story in our head that the white prince is coming on a white horse, you know, the prince is coming on a white horse and so forth. And then we get let down because they don't come on a white horse. They end up coming on a green horse. And what is going on? That's not what I was promised. So someone might be promising something to you and they do not deliver on that promise. And with Pisces Neptune, we surrender. But Mars wants to fight till the very end. So with this aspect, and obviously it's Gemini, so we're fighting with words or even with hands as well. But we might not know when to stop talking, when to give up arguing, when to stop using our own hands. So it's kind of like, it feels like that, you know, but I can chop these tomatoes so quickly and it can feel like I am, you know, protected by guardian angels. But unfortunately, we are not always protected every single minute. So it can lead to an accident and we're going to cut our fingers, for example, in the kitchen and so forth. We can get into more trouble because we don't know when to stop. Also, we might promise something that we might not be able to deliver. It's a little bit of a loudmouth type of combination. Uh, so some questions that you might want to ask yourself. Is it healthy to talk this much? Are we talking about the right thing? Am I making the right decision? Gemini is a dual sign as well as Pisces. So often we do not know what type of decision we having to make. And it's the sign of hesitation. This is the combination of hesitation with Neptune and Mars. Also, Neptune is highly sensitive in the sign of Pisces. And then it gets kind of connected with the chatty Mars now. So it can show that it's very easy to get offended, for example. It can feel like that I'm trying to express myself, but you know, no one listens. I don't know how to do. It can feel like that I'm trying to be creative and the muse is left me. Even though, you know, Mars is not necessarily creative, but this time around it's in the sign of Gemini. Gemini can be creative with their own hands. So it can feel like that the muse is left me. Squares are always asking you to act on something. So this is asking you to find a creative outlet that is going to motivate you or that is going to allow you to release certain type of anger and frustration within yourself. Now, Mars in general was associated with the sixth house in ancient astrology. This is the planetary joy of Mars. So the sixth house is the house of misfortune. Uh, it is about frustration, anxiety, medical issues as well. Typically, with the sixth house, we have to fix something, maintain something, or overcome. So this could talk to us about that you are drained, you are fatigued. It can unfortunately indicate misdiagnosis as well. It could indicate that unfortunately, kind of like a sexual attempt in the bedroom is failing, and then you start worrying about it. But also it could indicate issues at work, kind of like being discriminated, certain type of misunderstandings at work, or unfortunately our pets disappearing. They are a little bit on a, run away with Mars. It's very speedy, as well as, for example, another dog attacks my dog in the park. And obviously with Neptune, we get really upset. Or you are not able to perform the same duties like you usually can. So this is not the day most likely when you are going to be having a record-breaking, marathon running, for example. It's very also possible that people are gonna annoy you. Kind of like you don't want to be connecting to anyone. Everyone just misunderstands me, or everyone is talking about something that is not important, not spiritual, or something like that. So you might end up doing something artistic at home, listen to music, read newspapers, scrolling on applications, and so on. Mars is the planet of getting out of bed. So, you know what, we might need a cold shower to wake up because it might be very difficult to get out of bed as well. It might be kind of like that you are going to be snoozing your alarm, for example, and so on. Also, other way how it could work is that we are forcing our illusions onto others or trying to cut out somehow the BS from our life, from our own life. Maybe it's because you feel like you are being used at work. Mars is the opponent also in our chart. So someone is trying to spiritually attack you, invading your privacy, trying to get too close to you, and then it actually kind of annoys me. So with this Neptune and Mars, it's kind of like the invisible enemy. Not seeing actually who the enemy is, right? But also not necessarily seeing that you are your own worst enemy as well, because you are the slave of your own bad habits. And the bad habits, slavery, and all these type of things are coming from the association to the sixth house with Mars. This could simply talk to you about lack of energy. I'm not in the mood today to go to the gym. Now, I looked at April 29th and what happened on that particular day, because obviously we had the conjunction on 28 degree of Pisces, as I said. And 5 sportsmen died on that day. And therefore, this square could bring something similar as well. But I also looked at other things as well, what was going on in the world. Well, we had the norovirus on that Caribbean cruise ship, sickened 200 people. So this could become a topic. Or there was this OnlyFans creator, Farah Halidi, claimed that she was paid to spread political propaganda for Biden admin. Well, very Neptune and Mars-like, actually. Or we had volunteers help complete tree planting project at the Pittsburgh Park. So we can see similar headlines, for example. Also, the biggest one I found was that Trump's trial could bring a rarity, consequences for his words. That was one of the headlines in the New York Times on the 29th of April. And so therefore, it really looks like that this is going to be, someone is going to be bring these trial situations up about Trump and so forth. This is going to be a topic. And yeah, these were the most important topics. So obviously Mars is the planet of drive and ambition, but we've got Neptune connecting to it, which is about intuition and empathy and the planet of imagination. So we can become a little bit more drawn towards spiritual topics, to the unseen as well. But with Neptune, we are highly sensitive. We are a lot more intuitive. So you can become very kind of, fighting for the underdog, fighting for people who suffer, for example. And it can feel like that, you know what, I can do this. I can save 10 people at the same time. So you can put a lot of effort into those type of things. You're very inspired, or at least you are called upon acting on your own inspiration and creative endeavors as well. This is about action and intuition when we bring together. So acting on your own intuition. Why are you not doing that? Because you might be having an ability to intuitively understand something, Mars in Gemini, and understanding your own emotional patterns. For example, Neptune is on 29 degree of Pisces and it's trining Pallas Athene on 29 degree of Scorpio. So it looks like that emotional patterns that you can also recognize here. Can you see how many planets we've got on 29 degrees? So it's truly feeling like we just want to move on. But it can be a challenging aspect because sometimes it's difficult to distinguish between your own desire and other people's desires, people in need. So which one am I acting on? Obviously, Neptune is highly empathetic. And then we've got Mars who wants to act on its own desires. So am I saving myself, or am I going to be saved, or am I going to be helping others to save themselves? And then we can get pulled apart. It's very easy to take on other people's kind of emotions as well. And maybe you feel like that they are draining you out. This is the reason why you are trying to kind of separate yourself from others, because they are draining. They don't listen to your needs, to your desires. And that's why you feel overwhelmed. But also, there is a unique sense of strength coming up with this combination as well, because Neptune is trying to guide you through its intuition. And so it's kind of like the guided, intuitive action that I am meant to be taking. So, and, our gut feelings always know which one to go. Our gut feelings intuitively knows, Gemini, who needs help and in what ways we can help them. So temper your Mars and then listen to your intuition a little bit more. But you can be acting on your sensitivity as well. So that's why it's very easy to snap at others. However, often our empathy towards others is detrimental for our own needs. That's why we shouldn't be dragged, into these kind of polarity and taking on a lot more than what we can handle, because you can become really scattered with this. So I think these are some of the most important messages. I mean, Mars and Neptune together can bring self-deception, lack of faith, lies that is somehow revealed because Pluto is in the picture as well. It can feel like we are unmotivated, discouraged by, for example, a powerful person, Pluto being involved. We feel guilty about something that I should not have sent that text message. I sent it by mistake. Ooh, that wasn't the recipe, and I wanted to send it to someone else. So how can I turn this around? You might just simply start remembering, how you were hurt, how you hurt others, and then it makes you feel sad. And then it can feel like that, but I'm trying to hush away these feelings, and then they are just sticking to me. They don't want to go anywhere. Um, Low energy, so what can you do to pump up your mood, basically? But sometimes at Neptune, we just need a good rest. Resting the voice, Pisces and Gemini, resting the voice. So this could talk to you about loss of voice, for example. If you're trying to hit a high note, because Mars is the winner, right? So I'm trying to scream on top of my lungs and then I lose my voice. We can become a little bit more paranoid, even jealous, because we have got two but double bodied sign here. And then it can feel like that someone is doing something shady. So we start spying, right? Mars is ruling Scorpio. So we've got that spying element to it. We are spying on other on other person, Facebook account or text messages and all those type of things. And we even want to take revenge on someone as well. You simply might be confused about how to act, what motivates you. You might have got this urge to fight, or it's quite vindictive as well, actually, at the same time. You might see a lot of gossip happening around you as well. Stay away from it. This aspect is connected to scandal as well. So probably we're going to be seeing people getting slandered. When Pluto in Capricorn brings in the top political world, so I'm guessing there's going to be quite, some political scandal going on. So, guys, I think I mentioned everything that I wanted to this time around with this aspect. So, see you soon. See you tomorrow with Virgo lunation. Have a great one. Bye bye.